Okay, welcome back, my dear friends. So, today I am coming with one more presentation on the different communication technologies that we use in our IoT scenario. So, quickly going back to the previous presentation, we have seen a couple of presentations or couple of devices, right? One is the near field communication NFC, near field communication, then followed by the RFID devices, what you can see right in front of your screen just now, right? The radio frequency identification devices, right? So these are the two things that we have seen in our previous presentation. What do we mean by near field communication devices? How do they work? Then what exactly are the radio frequency identification devices? What are the two types, right? How exactly they work? With the help of one example also I have illustrated, right? So today we shall come to the next version of this, that is, or the next part, which is a very commonly known thing called Bluetooth, right? So Bluetooth, all of you know what exactly we mean by Bluetooth, right? Bluetooth, most of you are very familiar with this Bluetooth technology, right? So almost everywhere we make use of the Bluetooth in our day-to-day, communication scenario. Okay, so what are the basic advantages of Bluetooth? One is the cable replacement, right? You need not have uh, the cable for the purpose of data transfer. This is one important thing, cable replacement. And the second thing is that this Bluetooth is always a low cost option for the data transfer, right? And you can definitely have the ease of communication using Bluetooth, right? So you can have ease of communication. So these are the three general things which you can see as long as the Bluetooth communication is concerned, right? Before we go into the actual things that we have to see in our this particular presentation, let us also try to understand how exactly this Bluetooth works. So that is also a very important point to be noted, right? And whenever we establish the communication using the Bluetooth, right? So being a user, it is not necessary for us to press any particular key or button so that the data is started going from the transmitter to receiver. On its own, you can have the detection, right, connectivity and other things, and that too again depends upon the different types of protocols that we use. Okay, so now as long as the Bluetooth technology is concerned, we make use of two topologies, that is called the network topologies. Two network topologies that are being used in our Bluetooth scenario, right? The first one is called as Piconet, that is called as Piconet. So what do you mean by Piconet? Have you come across this term Piconet anywhere? So there will be one master, okay, and there will be one slave. This is called the master and this is the slave, okay, and the communication will be always from master to slave, as you know, right? So this arrangement is called as the single Piconet. Okay, if there is only one master and one slave, this is called as the single Piconet. And you can also have multi Piconet. So in the multi Piconet, so you will have one master and you can have several slaves like this, right? So again, when I say that several, there is an upper limit. So this is master, this is slave, this is slave, this is slave. So maximum you can have 8 devices connected at any particular point of time, right? So 8 device means there will be one master, right? So there will be one master and remaining 7 slaves. right? So this master is one which initiates the communication. From master the communication begins, right? And slaves, they are basically to receive the data, right? And never you will have slave to slave communication. It is not possible for us to have the communication between slave to slave. This is another important point to be noted here, right? So this is one, that is the piconet. And there is one more topology which we call it as scatter net. We call it as scatter net. So in the scatter net you can have multiple piconets. So whatever we call it as the master in your piconet, right? Master in your piconet, it can be a slave in your scatter net. Okay, now let us say that this is the scatter net. So now when I take this as the scatter net, okay, right? So this master, it can act as a slave, or it can be treated as the slave. So these are the two types of topologies. The interconnected piconets, right? So using the bridge network, using what you call it as bridge network or the bridge connection, so they result in the scatter net. Okay, so we have the piconets and you have got the scatter nets, right? And here once we say that you have got the transmitting and receiving ability for this masters and slaves in the the piconet and scatter net. So we should also know in what on what principle exactly this Bluetooth works, right? The principle on which the Bluetooth technology works, right? So basically we call it as frequency hopping. We call it as frequency hopping. This is how your Bluetooth technology works. So what I mean by frequency hopping is generally this Bluetooth, okay, it works in a particular frequency band which we call it as ISM band. Okay, so this is ISM stands for industrial scientific and medical, right? So this is that range of the frequency which is called as ISM band of the frequency, right? So as long as this ISM band of the frequency is concerned, when I say that it is ISM band of the frequency, it starts from a frequency of 2402 megahertz, right, till the ending frequency is somewhere 2483.5 megahertz. So this is the range over, or the range of the frequency over which your Bluetooth communication, Bluetooth communication takes place, right? And this Bluetooth generally makes use of 79 channels for transmitting and receiving the data. There will be totally 79 channels. Approximately each channel is given a bandwidth of about 1 megahertz. 1 megahertz, right? Each channel is allocated bandwidth of 1 megahertz, and each hopping, the transmitter hops from one channel to another in a randomly implemented manner. What I mean by randomly implemented manner is, so now you have got, so for example, I have got the transmitter here, okay, and I have got the receiver here. So now you need to transfer some information from transmitter to receiver. As it is as a single frequency band, the information will never go, right? So now you have got totally, as I have already told you, there are about 79 channels here, right? Each channel has got its own frequency, right? So the transmitter hops from one channel to another channel, one channel to another channel in a random manner or random fashion. Now you may ask why it is required for the transmitter to hop from one frequency to another frequency in a random manner. Basically, we pass on the things what we call it as packets. I have already told you earlier what exactly is the meaning of packet, right? So basically it is the data packet. The data packet is made to move from the transmitter here till the receiver in a randomly hopping fashion, right? So now for example, now the first packet, okay, is randomly selecting, say, let us say that the second channel, right? The second packet may go to some more channel or may go through one more channel. The third packet may go through some other channel among the 79 channels whatever you have here, right? Now suppose your data rate is, let us say that 1016 or 600 packets per second. Okay, let us say that you establish the data transfer, okay, with 1600 packets per second. Let us say that your Bluetooth device is configured to send the data at a rate of 1600 packets per second. Then if you see this, okay, whatever the channels you are having, about 79 channels you are having. So now each packet is sent to the destination. There are 1600 packets here. You have to make all these 1600 packets to reach to the destination. Each packet will be made to send to the destination at a time of about 625 microsecond. If you take this 1600 packets per second and you have got about 79 different channels, right? 625 microseconds in different frequencies. This is very, very important, right? So one packet will reach the destination in 625 microsecond. Another packet will reach the destination in another 625 microsecond. Like that, all the 1600 packets will reach the destination in each of 625 microseconds. But that is not important. They all go to the destination with different frequencies. Now you should be able to understand why this particular mechanism is used. This mechanism is basically used to prevent the hackers from accessing your data, right? It is very difficult when the data is being sent at such a faster rate, such a high rate, that too with unknown different frequency ranges. It is always very, very difficult to have the hacking of the data. That is the reason why it is very difficult to get the Bluetooth data hacked. It is not at all possible because of what we call it as the frequency hopping method. The Bluetooth transmission takes place by the principle which is called as the frequency hopping method, right? So these are some of the general information which I wanted to give as long as the Bluetooth technology is concerned. And you again, in the Bluetooth technology, you have got the different classes. For example, I have something called class 1, right, which can be transmitted over a largest possible distance, that is about 100 meter. So similarly, you have the class 2, which is about 10 meter, which is, this is what is the one which generally we use in our day-to-day life, right? So class 2 that is about 10 meters, and you have got one more, that is the class 3. This is for just about 1 meter distance. Okay, these are the three classes. Now how do you get 100 meter, or you have got 10 meter, or you have got 1 meter? That all depends upon the power of the transmitter, right? So how much power the transmitter is capable of having, right? Generally for this class 1, you will have about 100 milliwatt power, 100 milliwatt power here. So for class 1, so approximately 100 milliwatt of the power. Similarly, you have proportionally less power for class 2 as well as class 3. That will decide to what distance it is possible for you to make the data transfer, as long as the Bluetooth technology is concerned. Okay, so this is the general way in which the Bluetooth technology or the Bluetooth data transmission takes place. Again, please keep at the back of your mind that we are discussing about the communication technology in IoT scenario. So basically they are confined here, as long as our present discussion is concerned, they are confined to the basic physical layer and data link layer. Okay, so now let me quickly go to the next thing what we have to discuss as long as the Bluetooth technology is concerned, as per our curriculum requirement, right? So now you have got two types of technologies, as I have already told you in the one of the previous slides. I have shown you that, right? So Bluetooth BR, right? I think I have shown you that Bluetooth BR, that is called basic rate. So BR stands for the basic rate, and Bluetooth EDR, right? In one of the previous slides, I think I have already shown you that Bluetooth BDR. Okay, that is the sorry, EDR. EDR stands for enhanced data rate, right? EDR stands for enhanced data rate, basic rate and enhanced data rate, right? So what exactly we mean by basic rate and enhanced data rate? Okay, I have come to that particular point again here, right? The protocols, the basic rate, that is basic rate 1, enhanced data rate. So enhanced data rate is giving you the transmission rate of about 2 million bits per second up to 3 million bits per second, and definitely your basic rate here, whatever we have, it is less than 1 Mbps. It is less than 1 Mbps, right? So that is called as the basic rate, and the enhanced data rate gives us 2 Mbps to 3 Mbps, right? And you have got Bluetooth low energy, right? Low energy, as I have already told you, when your data rate is limited, definitely it is associated with the lesser amount of energy, and if your data rate is enhanced, you need to have larger energy or the larger power. The distance as well as the data rate, whatever you want to have in the Bluetooth data transfer, so they will in turn necessitate for the larger amount of the power. Okay, so now with this we will come back to the next slide now, okay, where we had left previously. So yeah, I have come to this particular point, right? So Bluetooth Smart, you have got something called Bluetooth Smart. So this is what is the one which I have just mentioned, Bluetooth low energy. So this Bluetooth low energy is also referred to as Bluetooth Smart. Two types of modes for the devices in the latest version. Bluetooth low energy, range of 150 meter at 10 milliwatt power output. The data transfer rate is 1 Mbps and setup time is less than 6 seconds. So now you can see here I have mentioned about this as 150 meters. Just now in my previous discussion we had discussed about three types of the classes, class 1, class 2, class 3. There I had mentioned that the maximum range is 100 meters. Am I right? If you recall. Now this is the latest version which has come with the higher range, that is up to 150 meter, and you can see here it is at a power of just 10 milliwatt. This is the enhanced version. Data transfer rate of 1 million bits per second and setup time of a time which is less than 6 seconds. You know what is the meaning of setup time? So whenever you need to transfer the data between the two devices, the transmitter and receiver, in how much minimum time you should be able to establish the link between the transmitter and receiver, that is what we call it as the setup time. Okay, so this is one thing. And now let us look into certain features as long as the Bluetooth is concerned. auto synchronization between mobile and other devices when both uses or both use Bluetooth technology, self discovery, self configuration, and self healing, right? So this is one of the major advantages of the Bluetooth technology. So whenever you have got two nearby devices with the Bluetooth capability, if you turn on your Bluetooth, you know that they are going to get self recovered, I mean self discovered. Configuration also takes place on its own in the latest versions of the Bluetooth. Maybe in old devices which had Bluetooth, sometimes it may be necessary to make the configuration. That is where you go back to the protocols and all. And self healing, so this self healing I have already answered what exactly is the meaning of self healing. Whenever you start sending the data from a transmitter to the receiver, okay, so this is your transmitter and let us say that it is the receiver, the frequency hopping whatever it takes place, so in that process whatever the mismanagement of the data takes place, right, it will automatically get healed, or it gets confined to the environment where the data is required to be transmitted. That is called as the self healing property. Okay, so then after that you can see here you have the support to the near field communication devices, pairing of low latency, right? What do you mean by latency here in pairing the Bluetooth device? So this latency, this is a new term which you will come across in communication technology. We have seen it in your thermodynamics and all. What is latency? Here basically it is the lack of speed, right? Suppose from the transmitter to receiver the data is expected to reach in a particular time according to your expectation. If it takes slightly more time, then you call it as latency, right? Support to NFC pairing for low latency in pairing the BT devices or Bluetooth devices. So that means in your near field communication device also you can have the support of Bluetooth, but at the same time it will also see to it that there is no data latency. Because of some other devices coming into picture, there will not be any lack of time before the data reaches the destination. Okay, this is these are some of the important features of Bluetooth devices, right? You have the different configuration, you have we have already seen what are the different methods based on which the Bluetooths work, the frequency hopping. We have also seen what is the ISM, right? Industrial, scientific and medical range of frequencies. What is the total range of the Bluetooth frequency or the bandwidth? How many channels the Bluetooth transmission or the Bluetooth communication makes use of? What is the meaning of hopping, right? So in order to have a particular data transferred from the transmitter to receiver, right, how exactly the hopping helps in keeping away the intruders or the people who want to snatch your data. All those things we have discussed in this particular Bluetooth communication. Okay, so this is one, along with your NFC, okay, the near field communication. Then you have studied about RFID, radio frequency identification device. Then you have seen what exactly is the meaning of Bluetooth, right? You have a lot of literature available on Bluetooth in the internet, but what we want to have is as per our requirement in the IoT scenario. Okay, so now after having seen the Bluetooth, let us now go to the next one, which is the Zigbee. Okay, most of you must have heard about Zigbee. Okay, here I have shown now Zigbee IP or Zigbee SE 2.0, right? So this is another protocol. Again, it is as per your IEEE. We have already made a mention about these things in the beginning. IEEE 802.15.4. Okay, 802.15.4. So based on this standard, your Zigbee communication technology is derived, right? So basically it is used for two-way communication between a sensor and a control system generally. Okay, generally it is for the sensor and the control system. Why I have made a mention about the sensor and the control system is we have been talking about this communication technologies as applicable to the physical as well as the data link layer in our IoT scenario. Okay, so very similar to your the one which we have already discussed just now, that is the Bluetooth. It is for short distance communication. It is for short distance communication. Generally it is confined, or it is useful for a distance which is less than say 100 meter or something like that, right? So therefore some of the important features like what we have to see, similar to how we have seen in the case of the other three technologies that we have discussed so far, so that we will see it from the point of view of your Zigbee also. So you can quickly see these things now. It is an enhancement for the IP version 6 connectivity, right? So internet protocol version 6 is the latest internet protocol version which we have been using, that I have already told you. Okay, so now then after that you can see here Zigbee IP RFD, that is reduced function device. So now what do you mean by reduced function device? You can see here the functions for the sleepy or battery operated devices. That means you don't keep the device or the functions always active in the communication scenario. Whenever you want the data to be transmitted, or whenever you want the data transfer to be accomplished, then only you make the things to wake up, right? So that will be always infrequently. Then once the data goes, you make it to sleep. This is called as the reduced function device. Probably you should be able to understand what for we are using this. Basically this is used to have the reduced congestion in the system or something like that. So whenever you want some entity to make sure that the data is transferred, only during that particular time you make that entity to make the data transfer, otherwise you make it to sleep. Make it to sleep means make it inactive. So in such cases your Zigbee protocol is generally used. Okay, so now you can see here quickly we will look into the other aspects as long as the Zigbee communication technology is concerned, right? So NAN, that is called the neighborhood area network, right? So the neighborhood area network, it is a version for smart grid. I will take up this point when we come to the case studies, right? In what way we have to see some of the case studies when we complete all these discussions, in what way your IoT can be used in your smart grid applications and all. So probably when I take up a block diagram or the connectivity diagram for a smart grid application, right? So then definitely you will come to know in what way your Zigbee will have a very important role in communicating between the layers, especially when we realize a smart grid application, right? So version for a smart grid, Zigbee SE20 energy management and energy efficiency capabilities using the IP network. These are the general things which you can have. The protocols, generally the Zigbee communication, it is for a distance of 10 to 200 meter, though we have said that it is applicable for less than 100 meter. So from literature to literature, based on the technology, these values they keep changing, right? Let us not much bother about these things, right? Let us take it that maximum up to a 200 meter, right? You can have the distance of the Zigbee data transmission, right? And the data transfer rate of about 250 kilobits per second. Low power operation, right? Whenever we make the comparison of the different technologies later, okay, so probably this is one point which we should keep in mind in order to appreciate the Zigbee communication technology. Again, ISM band of frequency, right? We have already discussed about what we mean by ISM band of frequency. 6-channel radio, right? So what do you mean by 6-channel radio here? As long as the Zigbee is concerned, right, we have got the 6 different functionalities that your Zigbee has to, realize, that I will quickly tell you. Probably it is, too early for me to tell about those things right now. The 6 protocols or the 6 functionalities. One is called as the endpoint, the other one is called Zigbee to Zigbee device routing, then Zigbee network coordinator, Zigbee IP coordinator, right? Zigbee to Zigbee router and Zigbee to IP host. This router, coordination, host. So these are all the different, what you can call as configurations in which your Zigbee communication technologies can take place. So that is the reason why it is called as a 6-channel radio. Let us not much worry about these things right now. And again, if you look at the Zigbee features, right, you have self-configuring, very similar to what we have seen in the case of Bluetooth, self-healing, dynamic pairing, right, support for both multicast as well as the unicast options. I have already told you what exactly we mean by the multicast option and unicast option when we discussed something earlier, right? So these are some of the important characteristics of your Zigbee protocol. We have discussed about the Bluetooth as well as Zigbee today, right? So how exactly the communication is established both in the Bluetooth as well as the Zigbee technology, right? So some of you must have definitely made use of the Zigbee for the communication purpose, right? But what exactly is inside this Zigbee, that is what is required to be known, right? So not the end user, because we are the creators here, right? The protocols and other things are to be properly understood, so that whenever you want these devices, or when you use these devices, your end application should be properly realized, right? So you have got several applications as long as the Zigbee devices are concerned: industrial automation, right, manufacturing, packaging. Then you may have home automation systems, right, lights, doors, locks. You may have the surveillance applications. You may have the thermostat applications, right, to keep the room temperature. Especially these things, this thermostat and all, they are more popularly used in the cold countries. Okay, you may have the use of the Zigbee in the grid monitoring. That's what I have told. I will come back with one example of the case study in the smart grid system. It may be in temperature monitoring, or it may be in the power management, fault locating, right? Smart metering. Nowadays, you go with the smart metering, right? So the digital meters have come. If you give them a smart features, definitely you can have the smart metering to prevent the power theft and all, right? Energy consumption response, how much you have consumed, giving you some information that you have crossed this mark, all those things, right? Pricing for the energy. I am talking about the applications in our domain, electrical engineering domain. Like that, you can have the different applications as well. So Zigbee definitely finds its use in the lower level communication technologies, in all these things which I have mentioned just now. Okay, so with that, now I will stop this particular presentation. Today we have in general discussed about the Bluetooth technology and Zigbee. Among this, Bluetooth is very familiar to all of us. Zigbee may not be very familiar to all of us, but at least to some of you it may be familiar, right? So these are the general characteristics. How they come in our